Wow. Sorry it's been so hit and miss with my videos coming through. Some light on in here. Um, Holy cow. It's been checking in. 2 days ago I had a doctor's appointment for my lady annual, and it was kind of a traumatic experience. So, just to keep it simple, I had a complete hysterectomy at 34, 35 years old, about 10 years ago, maybe even more, because parts were falling out. So, it was time to take them out. I can't say I even regret that because it was the happiest day of my life to never have to have a menstrual cycle again. And I was done having kids. My kids were old enough and I was done. Never looked back, never regretted it. Okay, so when I left there, the doctors had told me you'll never have to have a pap smear again because you don't have a cervix and it's not a big deal. If you're a dude and you're squeamish, you might not want to watch this YouTube. If you're curious, go for it. Don't hold anything back. Okay, so I walked into the doctor's office. They gave me a mask because, we're in the doctor's office and they're still maskophobic. So, anyways, I don't like wearing masks. I didn't wear masks for the 2 years of mask lockdown unless I was specifically approached and asked to wear a mask, and then I wore one. I was compliant when it was important, but I let my immune system do its thing and I was fine. Yeah, I tested positive for COVID several times. And at that point, okay, I'm regressing here. At that point in time during COVID, I might lose followers over this, but this is me and it's raw and this is my vlog. Not a doctor, not a medical person. Don't follow my advice. Just do your own research. Anyways, I did not wear masks. I did get COVID. I am at high risk. I'm a triple threat high risk. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, overweight, all the risks. That was 4. Anyways, triple threat for a heart attack. I have every triggered whatever that I should get COVID and die. Had it tested positive for it 3 different times. The first time was before everybody was testing, and my family definitely had it. We all had a fever for like 7 to 10 days, and it was the symptoms of COVID before there were COVID tests. Anyways, that was January of 19. Yeah, took out like a whole school. But anyways, point being, had COVID. Wore masks, didn't wear masks, let my body, I went grocery shopping. Our stores locally here were not like scared about it. They're like, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't. We're not going to force you to. There were, however, a few stores that said if you don't wear a mask, you don't enter. If I had to go into that store, I wore a mask. If I could get it somewhere else that didn't require me to wear a mask, I didn't. Because with asthma and my lungs recovering from having COVID, it would just send me into a coughing fit, and then everybody just stared at me like I was the plague, and why was I out of my house? Anyways, that aside. So I put my mask on and I went into the doctor's room, and the lovely nurse was like, okay, strip down. Here's this lovely poncho. It's a poncho. Front, back, fat lady. I'm like, that's not going to cover me, but okay, let's do this. I'm like, So I stripped down. I set my mask on top of my clothes. I wasn't going to wear it. The last time I was in the doctor's office, the nutrition was like, yeah, we don't worry about those. Once you get in the room, just take it off. It's fine. This doctor, she was worried about it. She walked into the room. She went, oh, no mask. You have to wear that at all times. This is a small container. And she just kept going. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll get it. She says, don't get up. I'll get it. And she like hands it to me like this. It's like, there it is. Hands me my mask. I put it on. I'm compliant. I'm not going to cause a fuss and a fight. I'm sitting there stark naked anyways. What's the point? She leaves the room. She says it's to go next door because she has to do something. I'm pretty sure she was waiting for the air filtration to filter the air that I had breathed in so that she wouldn't get sick. Anyways, she's a little, yeah. Okay. So she comes in and she's like, blah, 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 asking, trying to like make it light. And then she's like, I looked at your chart. Now, I've struggled with like stress in the last couple of years. I had high anxiety. I worry a lot. It's one of my fatal flaws. I'm a nurturer. I take care of people. I fix things for them. So when my kids have a crisis, they're like, hey, Mom. And I'm like, okay, I'm on it. And I go into fight mode and I fight for them. And if it's something that I can't fix, then I'm like, yeah, I'll pray for you and God will work everything out. And I'm learning to do more of the second and less of the first. And it has helped me immensely. I sleep at night better. It's great. I don't worry about things anymore. I've given them to God. God takes care of them. And I have seen him working in my life. And it's like, okay, I'm just making myself worry for nothing. Somebody once posted, I think it was on a TikTok or I saw it on a blog, that like 98% of your worries never even happen. It's all in your head. So stop doing it. Anyways, this is going to be one of those vlogs. So ADD, sorry, I have ADHD. Yeah, okay. So she's sitting there and then she starts and she's like, okay, well, I'm going to listen to your lungs. And I'm like, okay, well, I play the flute for this. My mind, here we go. I played the flute for like 20 years. But okay, it's longer than that. Since I was 10, 35 years. And I'm like, let's give her some lungs. I'm like, and I just keep breathing in because I could do that. And then I blow it out and I blow it out slow. And I can technically, I can breathe out for almost like 45 seconds. Wasn't that mean to her? And I did it again for the other lung. And then she did the front. She did the other side. She had me lay down. She listened to my heart. And it's like, okay, this is going to be nice. I like this lady. She's cool. Yeah. Okay. And then she did my breast exam. She complained because I'm fibrous and I need to, like, okay, I'm lucky to hit a size 8.5 because I do not have like ginormous knockers. And I've loved that my whole life. As a child, I thought it was lame. But as an adult, I'm like, yay, I don't have to have saggy baggy boobs that I have to roll up and tuck in. Yeah. I said that. And she's like, well, your breast tissue is awful firm. I'm like, well, that should be a good thing since I'm 45 and I don't have saggy baggy boobs. And she's like, well, there's some medicine you can take to make them softer and more supple. I'm like, but I don't want to make them softer and supple because then they're going to sag and bag. I don't want to do that. She said, well, it's going to make it really difficult for your next mammogram. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they've been like this my whole life. I told her that because they have been. And I've been told that since I was my first exam when I had my first pregnancy. And so she's like, well, you need to take this and this and it'll help. I'm like, okay. She goes, when was your last mammogram? I'm like, never had one. I'm 45. I'm not having a mammogram. Okay. There's no, again, not a doctor, just me. I'm just a human. I'm nobody. I don't take my advice. Do your research, take your doctor's advice. See your doctor if you want to. Whatever. There is no history of breast cancer in my family at all. There's no history of ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, any of that kind of stuff. I've never had any of that in any of my family, both sides of my family. None. I'm not worried about it. God's in control. Yeah. I had my blood work and my blood work came back and I didn't have all the markers, any markers of cancer. So stop. Okay. So, and again, my boobies are tiny. It's not hard to feel everything and not feel a mass. Because if I had a mass, well, by George, that boob's going to be big. Anyway, so she's complaining about the firmness of my boobs and the size of my boobs. I'm like, okay, straight for what? So she goes, well, do you have any skin tags or moles that you're concerned about? I'm like, well, if you're looking at this one, I've had it since I was born. Yes, it's misshapen and it's multiple colors. It's been that way my whole life. There's nothing wrong with it. This one, I've had it my whole life. And I'm like, but if you want to check my back, because my husband doesn't do a very good job of that. He doesn't ever look at my back. Well, he's looking at the front. He likes to see my face. Yeah. So she checks my back. She goes, well, there's a lot of them, but they're all about the same color and they're oddly shapen, but that seems to be your thing. I'm like, hey, welcome to my genetic characteristics. Okay. Gown goes back down. She's like, okay, happy into the stirrups. Okay, here's my fun. I don't just get into the stirrups because then I get 2 Charlie horses in my legs. And no woman wants to sit in the stupid stirrups anyway. So it's like a process to get into that. Whatever. I get there. She's like, do you need a special size speculum? I'm like, didn't know I had options. It's just always shoved it up there. I'm like, no, whatever. Are you allergic to the gel? I'm like, no, it's not on my chart. No. She's like, okay, here it goes. And she's like, wah. I'm like, ow. She's like, well, I didn't get in there very far. I'm only in about 3 inches. I'm like, how much more do you want? So she's complaining that she can't get her speculum in to a cavity that my doctor shortened because she took everything out of it. Going back, pause, come back to that in a minute. what kind of contraceptives are you using? That was like her second question when she walked in the room. Like, none? Well, that's not very responsible. Like, I don't have a uterus. Well, you still need to use contraceptives. I'm like, aren't contraceptives, my mind not saying it out loud, aren't contraceptives to prevent you from having children or sexually transmitted diseases? Married to the same man for 23 years. Not worried about that. Either of them. She's like, well, that's not very responsible. I'm like, okay, whatever. Moving on, So she's like, well, are you sexually active? And I looked at her and I went, yes. Is that your business? She goes, well, if you're sexually active, this shouldn't be so painful. I'm like, it's always been painful. Not for sex, but when you shove that foreign object up in my hoo-ha, it's going to hurt. Anyways, she goes, well, now I'm going to do a pap smear. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, but my doctor said I never had to have a pap smear ever again. You just needed to check my ovaries. That's another side story. 2 years ago, I went to the emergency room because I was having intense abdominal pain, and they said that my right ovary was shriveled up like a walnut and hard as a rock and had lost blood supply. Bye, see you later. And I do have a good one on my left-hand side. Yay, I still have hormones coming from it. I'm fine. And so while she's fishing around in there, she goes, well, I can't find your ovaries. I'm like, yes, because they took my uterus out and they're disconnected. They went way up high. They're sitting up high. Like, usually your ovaries are down by your happy mommy belly. Mine are like way up high by my rib cage. They went for a swim and they moved around. Who knows? Anyways, the ultrasound lady was trying to find them and she couldn't find them from the bottom. She had to find them from the top. And she's like, well, they're really moved around. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Okay. Anyways, so, oh my gosh. She's like, well, I'm going to swab your cervix. And I said, I don't have one. My doctor said, I'm going to do you a favor. You're never going to have a pap smear again. So I'm going to take your cervix out because there's no point in leaving it in there because then it just leaves you for a chance of getting cervical cancer. So she took it. Yay, thank you. I love you, doctor. You were the best doctor. My favorite person in the world. Gosh. I should put a disclaimer on this not to watch this with your children. I will do that for my best friend. Okay. So she's fishing around. She goes, since COVID, I'm like, okay, how does COVID have anything to do with my hoo-ha? Since COVID, we've found that there are markers of cancer sometimes on the vaginal wall. Okay. So she sticks that swab up there and she goes, Okay, I'm 3 inches long. She goes, in one spot. How are you covering the whole cervical wall? I'm at, what if you miss the one spot that has the cancer in it? What if, that was a hole. Yeah, anyways, I'm like, whatever. It's not going to have any markers of cervical cancer because cervix in there. Watch, it'll come back positive. Anyways, okay, so she goes, now I'm going to get a stool sample from you so I can check to make sure there's no blood in your stool. And I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. Didn't know that was part of my exam. I was not having a colonoscopy, so I was not expecting anybody in my other hole down there. So she goes, a little pressure. I'm like, She's like, well, your stool is very firm. I'm like, yeah. She goes, do you have bowel movements every day? I'm like, a couple. I'm like, I've been doing really good because my kefir's been making it way softer than it usually is. Why are you griping about how firm my poop is? I went poop like 20 minutes ago. There's nothing in there. What you're feeling is me and not poop. She goes, I can't get any. I'm like, oh my gosh, get out of my butt. Finally figures it out. She like worked herself out of there finally. She goes, and when was your last colonoscopy? I'm like, 45. I haven't had a colonoscopy. She goes, oh. Like, oh, I'm like, because everybody looks forward to that so much. Yeah, it's colonoscopy day. Let's go do that. No. Okay. So she's like, well, we have 2 options. There's one option where you leave a sample in a box. We mail you a box. And you put a sample in and you mail it in. But if there's any problem with your like hemorrhoids at the time, there's any blood around the area, you get blood positive and you have to have a colonoscopy anyways. And she explains all this crap to me. Crap. That's funny. Anyways. So So I politely, okay, so we get the boobs. Wait, what was that? I don't know. I lost track. There's like 5 things right now. She's totally triggered me on. And I'm sitting there because my parents raised me to be polite to my elders. I think she's younger than me. And people who've gone to school should know more than me, but I'm just being nice. And I'm like, okay. Oh, but exciting news. My blood pressure was 127/74. That is the lowest. It's been 3 times now. It's been low when I've gone to this doctor's office. I don't know, their blood pressure cuffs are different. But I'm out of risk zone. I'm not 200/120 anymore like I used to be. So my blood pressure has come down. Thank you, Jesus, for calming my little nerves down and letting me sleep more because it's better. Anyways, okay. So that's how my brain works. Sorry. It's very entertaining. You should live in my head sometimes because I'm listening to my furnace wondering when my husband's going to get in the shower all while I'm talking right now. Okay. Where were we at? Oh yeah, feet in the air, stirrups, finger in my butt. Yeah, she gets out of there. She goes, okay, you can sit up now. I'm like, thank you. So she goes on and on and on about all this stuff, and she's like, these markers, that's where I go back to that my stress, anxiety, not sleeping, and that she goes, we have this pill. It's called Mood, and it improves your mood so you can sleep better at night, and then you won't have any stress or anxiety. Okay, so the stress things that I'm stressing about are like, I gotta pay my car payment, I gotta pay my house bill, I gotta pay my bills, I gotta make enough money to make sure I have extra just in case my kids need something because I help take care of them when they're in crisis. We've got some big legal things coming up. Big decisions. Am I going to start a business and have it run a daycare? Am I going to stay at my job for a few more years? What am I going to do? All these things that are what a responsible adult would be contemplating through their life. So she wants me to take this drug called Mood. It's natural. Whatever. I don't care. It's natural. If I wanted to take medicine for my mood, I'd call up Interstellar Plan, Interstellar Herbs, because I love Gavin's herbs. And yes, they have the same things and they make me happy. But these people push their natural supplements. One to wake up in the morning and have happy, and one to go to bed at night and be sleepy, and then there's this other one that helps your mood, Okay, so she goes, well, this is the medication. You have really a lot of markers for anxiety, and what did she call it? Not depression, not like, anyways. She goes, this is the medication that we use when people have been on anxiety meds. We'll call them that. It's not what she said, but it was something along those lines. This is the medication we use to get people off their anxiety meds. You wanted me to put me on it? Are you saying I have anxiety? Are you saying I have a mental disorder? Are you saying I have a problem? Because I already know it. But you know what? My generation, our parents taught us to cope with it, not to just medicate it. I was like, my brain in that moment went, so it just produces, it helps your body produce more serotonin. I'm like, I wonder if she could read the pissed off on my face. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. That's fine. You write it down. I'll take anything right now. Shut up and let me have it. And I'm like, brain, here's what my brain does. So I have to worry about all these things, and I have to handle all these things, and I have to control and take care of my family. And you want me to be happy about it? I think I'm good. I'm like, yay, we're losing our house. Yay. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I got to be realistic here. Okay, so my parents were born in the 50s. I was born in the 70s. My kids were born in the 2000s. My parents raised us to, you got a problem, fix it. Cry about it if you have to, but shut up and deal with it. And then our kids, we kind of raised them the same way, but a lot of kids in my kids' generation were like, oh, honey, you have ADHD, here's some pills. Oh, you have depression, here's some pills. Oh, you have this, here's some pills. And my kids, they didn't even get meds for ear infections. I'm like, oh, here's a hot pad. Let's put the hot pad on your ear infection. You're good. And they got better. They took antibiotics from time to time when they got like a sinus infection or whatever, but if I knew then what I know now, I would never have given it to them. There's a time and a place for medicine and doctors, and there's a time and a place for let your body heal itself, because you know what? God created us amazing. So I'm leaning more towards the latter of those. Okay, where was I? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It was a weird appointment. So I'm going to have to poop in a cup. I have to go get a mammogram. And I'm supposed to start taking the stress meds. She got me with 3 things that I have to do after I leave the office. I'm not doing any Um, like, she didn't ask me if there was any. The form that I filled out, the form that I filled out when I got to the office was a mental health evaluation form. It was not, does your family have a history of cancer? Does your family have a history of heart disease? It was not that. It was just a mental health form. And I'm like, eh? And I wasn't going to see a mental health. I was going to get my hoo-ha checked, and that was it. It's just, there's so many more things. It was literally an hour of, I was just sitting there with this look of, oh my gosh, on my face. I just want to put my clothes back on. I just want to leave. My daughter, she goes, really, Mom? I'm surprised you didn't be like, yeah, we're done here, and walk out of there. I just, no, this is not cool. Yeah, this video definitely has to have a disclaimer. So I walked up to the front office. She goes, oh, would you like to purchase that the mood supplement? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pass today. And she's like, okay, well, I'll get this other thing submitted. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, no. My diabetes is under control. Since I started the kefir and changed some other eating habits, I've really cut my sugar down. My A1Cs are coming down, and I'm so excited about it. I do need to call them and schedule appointment to get my lab work done again, because the last time I did it, I think it was October or November. Might have been even December. But yeah, it was in December because it was on Christmas break. January, February, March. My weight was about the same as it was last time I was there. She didn't talk to me about my weight, about being overweight. She didn't talk to me about any of that kind of stuff. No, she was just hitting me for, I haven't had the exams that I should have had as a responsible adult. I'm like, don't have any history of colon cancer in my family either. So I don't have to be a responsible. Now, if my mom or my dad or my grandma or grandpa on either one of my parents' side, my grandpa's still alive, by the way. If anybody would have had those problems, I would have been like, yes, I need to be tested. But they haven't had those problems, and I don't see any need for it. The only problem that I had is my grandpa had a high blood pressure and had a heart arrhythmia, but he lived to be well into his old age. My grandma on my mom's side had hepatitis C, and she was Hawaiian, and it was pretty common over there. So we don't know if she even had it from birth. We don't know where she got it from. When she was a child, it was before Hawaii was a state, and they were really naive. They were living in the native area and just naive. So she didn't have a lot of medical whatever. So it could have been, we don't know. I don't know. Maybe my aunts and uncle know, but I don't know any of that information. She also did get diabetes later in life and had to take care of things. She was also overweight, and she ate a lot of rice. So, it kind of happens. And she loved her Pepsi. So my mom did go into the hospital with, I think, like blood sugars over 500 to 600. It was amazing that she even got to the hospital. So she corrected it with diet. She doesn't take anything for it anymore either. So she did lose a lot of weight and changed all of her eating habits. It's possible. That's my only concern is I did have the high blood pressure. I did have the, technically had high cholesterol. And I was on the verge of type 2 diabetes. Okay, so here's the thing. Pre-diabetes. Cholesterol. I've been doing a lot of research about cholesterol, because if you do my total cholesterol, my numbers are 198. Now, they start getting concerned when you hit 200. My goods are low, my bads are high. There's no such thing as good and bad cholesterol as to what the research I've done, because your body produces both of those hormones for a reason. It's just bad when the cholesterol is small enough that it can get in underneath your cell or your vein walls, artery walls, and then it starts to make plaque. It's not the cholesterol, it's the plaque that's bad. My triglycerides are high. That was the number that they were really concerned about, because my triglycerides were up there. Okay, but what I've researched and what I've learned about triglycerides is when you do a keto diet or you're fasting, they tend to get high. I wish people were more better rounded in their education. Anyways, Wow, I've rambled for 25 minutes about this. Oh my gosh. It's been, yeah. So I didn't really want to talk about it anything yesterday. I just kind of wanted to stew on it. But I did want to make this recording because I don't go to the doctor very often, and this is why. I don't get sick. If I get sick, I fast and I get better really quickly. There are things and there are times, my husband's going through one right now. There are things and there are times where it does require a medical degree and a professional who knows what they're doing to solve a problem. There are things and there are times when it's important. It's life or death, and you have to go to the hospital to get things taken care of, or to go to your doctor and but the thing my husband's dealing with, and I'm not going to get on this, but I'm going to get on it a little bit here. He's been dealing with it for over a year. And his doctor has dismissed him every time, and dismissed him and dismissed him and dismissed him. And he got referred to another doctor because his doctor was busy, didn't make an appointment. That's a whole nother thing. After a year of having this problem, the new doctor finally looked at the area of the problem instead of just writing him a prescription for the symptoms of the problem, and went, oh, there's something wrong here. One visual exam of that area referred him to a specialist the next day, and that specialist went, you're having surgery in the next week, because it's that big of a deal. When he had his heart surgery, my husband has an artificial heart valve. He's had it for 20 years. He was in a major accident as a child and broke a lot of bones in his body, and it's a miracle he's alive, blah, blah, blah. He's my miracle. I love him. They put the valve in. The doctor, he was like, my shortness of breath. My vision will go black. My ears will ring, and then I can't hear. Something's wrong. The cardiologist told him he was overweight and he needed to exercise more. He was in full-on congestive heart failure. We didn't know it at the time. Got a second opinion, and that cardiac surgeon goes, you get your affairs into order and get your butt down here tomorrow morning because you're having massive open heart surgery. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so my life's kind of filled with a lot of trauma. I had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old at that time, and I'm like, I'll lose my husband, I'm gonna be a single mom. God had other plans. They're now 21, 22. Anyways, yeah. Wow. So fight for your medical care when you need it. If something is really, really wrong, you need to fight for your own medical. So my husband will be going into surgery in the next week and a half. And in that time, I won't be working, so I'll be making lots of videos. I'm going to try and fast while I'm off work. But while he's in the hospital, I have to be there. Because literally every single time he has been in the hospital, they've tried to kill him. He's on blood thinners. So when you're on blood thinners, you can't have things like Advil. You have to have your blood thinners every day. Before surgery, you have to have a shot that thins your platelets or makes you not produce them or something. It's a special shot, so I give it to him twice a day for like 3 days before the surgery. And after the surgery, I give it to him for like 3 or 4 days. I have to fight the nurses to let me give him his shots. And I'm not letting the hospital provide those shots for him because I'm not paying for them. No, you may not test my husband to see if he's pregnant. They've done that before. Oh my gosh, he's a man with man parts and no pregnancy test required. Yeah. Anyways, so they've always, every single time they try to give him something or do something that was counterproductive to his, oh, there's my gray hair right there, counterproductive to his health. When they remove his IV, it's 10 minutes minimum of pressure on his spot before his body clots and he doesn't bleed out. They're like, oh honey, no, we'll just hold pressure on it for 2 minutes, he'll be fine. I'm like, all right, let's do this. He stands up, the blood starts squirting out, and I'm like, it's bleeding. It's like, you shouldn't have to do that. Or if you do have to do that, then the nurses should listen to you when you say, I've been doing this for 23 years. The only reason he's standing right here next to me is because I've kept him alive, because I don't want him to die. We've had a lot of medical problems with him. He had back surgery to repair a disc in his lower back. Somehow he got septic in that spot. It contained it to the spot. He did not have a fever. He did not have any symptoms of sepsis. He did not have any markers of sepsis in his blood. There was a mass the size of a grapefruit in his back in a contained area, putting pressure on his spinal cord so bad he couldn't poop, he couldn't pee, he couldn't walk. I literally, because I'm a bigger woman, I'm 5'7", he's 5'4", and he was light at the time, he's like 160 pounds. I put my arm around him, I picked him up, and I walked him into the emergency room, and I went, this isn't normal. Oh, he just wants more pain medication. I'm like, nah, he broke in, fix him. They went in there 3 surgeries later to keep his wound, opening his wound and cleaning it out and pouring antibiotics in there to kill the sepsis. Oh my gosh. He almost landed in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He's a stupid, irresponsible doctor wouldn't listen to a man who was saying it hurts really bad and I'm having trouble peeing. I fight for my husband's medical care. I have to fight for my medical care. But when he goes to the doctor, I will be off work and with him because he can't be by himself. And it's just a pain in the butt. Anyways, oh my gosh, this video is going too long. I'm sorry. If you're here still when you're listening to my rambling, I hope I've entertained you because my life is, there's so many swear word varieties of what you could call my life, and I don't swear, but oh my gosh, it makes me want to sometimes. It's just like, this is not real. This can't, are you for real? This can't happen to one person. But just know, fight for your medical care. Your body is your body. It's like I told my daughter, she's 34 weeks pregnant, I think, ish, right in there. She's like, Mom, I don't want them doing pelvic exams on me. I don't want them checking my baby and stirring things around in there. I want it. My first one was fine. I don't want to know if I'm dilated. I just want to let things happen. I said, honey, it's your body. You can say, we're not doing that today. She goes, I can? I'm like, you can. It's your body. Your doctor, she's young. This is her second baby. She's young. Your body's healthy. Everything's happy. Is your placenta where it needs to be? Yes. Is your baby head down? Not yet. Is there any complications? She did have bleeding issues afterwards, and they had to like go in there and sweep her. But that was after the baby was born. Right now, let's not stir things up. Just it hurts, and I don't like having the contractions afterwards. I'm like, unlike my pregnancies, which were all complicated, you're not having a pregnancy that's complicated. You don't have to let them in there to fish around. She goes, okay. I'm like, just you're in control of your body. That little body inside of you that you're taking care of and nurturing, that little alien bloodsucker that you got going on in there, you're taking care of that body too. And you want her to grow up big and strong and be healthy just like you. She goes, okay. So it was just like, she's seen me fight to keep her dad alive. She's seen me fight to keep me alive. She's seen me fight to keep my boys alive and her alive. And you have to fight the medical field. I'm glad that I went in and had my exam. I honestly don't know what I got out of it other than violated. If one of the tests came back positive, it would shock me. If you're at high risk, you need to be tested. I probably won't have another one at least another 5 years, and if then, and I still won't have a colonoscopy because I've read too many studies about people getting more damage done by the colonoscopy and they still don't find the cancer when they're in there. I don't have any problem going to the bathroom. My kidneys work really good. My kidney function, all my blood levels are great. I'm not worried about anything like that. So, healthier, happier? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm not doing that again. life is life, and we are in control of what goes in and out of our bodies, and the advice that we accept and the advice that we take and how we handle things is our responsibility to be responsible about it. We have to advocate for ourselves. Advocate for yourself. All right, here's to happier, healthier, and happier me and you. Have a great day.